Story 1. Hallow's Call. The town of Raven's Hollow was the kind of place that always looked haunted, even when it wasn't. In October, the mist hung low. Pumpkins glowed on porches, and every window reflected candlelight or curiosity. The townspeople called it the safest place in the state.
They were wrong. 1.
The call at the edge of town stood a quiet farmhouse, surrounded by bare trees and broken fences. Inside, Amber Reed, 19, was home alone, popcorn in the pan, TV glowing blue in the dark. She hummed along to the opening credits of an old slasher movie, her phone buzzing with Halloween party invites she had no intention of accepting. Then, the landline rang. Amber stared at it. Who even used landlines anymore? She picked it up anyway. "Hello?" A man's voice answered. Low, playful, distorted. "Happy Halloween, Amber. What's your favorite scary movie?" She laughed. "Wow. Original. Who is this?"
Tyler?
"If this is a prank, you shouldn't leave your curtains open." Her hand froze. She turned toward the window. It was dark beyond the glass, just her reflection. But then, something moved behind it. Her voice cracked. "If you're outside, I swear I'll call the police." "You could," the voice said, "but they'll find you too late." A sharp knock rattled the back door. Amber dropped the phone, grabbing a kitchen knife. The TV flickered, cutting to static, and in the reflection behind her stood a tall figure in a cracked white mask. Amber turned, screamed. The knife hit the floor. The popcorn burned black, and outside, the jack-o'-lantern's flame went out. To the aftermath. By morning, the whole town knew. The news called it the Hollow Murder. Amber's body had been found by her friend Cassie Ward, a 17-year-old with stormy eyes and too many nightmares already. Cassie hadn't slept since. Her best friend Noah Clark tried to comfort her, but he was the type who watched horror movies for fun. He joked about Raven's Hollow getting its own slasher legend. Cassie didn't laugh. She had seen Amber's eyes when they found her. 3. The party Halloween arrived like a dare. The whole town gathered for the annual festival, the one Amber had helped organize before she died. Costumes, fake blood, laughter to hide the tension. Cassie wore a witch's mask. Noah came as a vampire with plastic fangs. They pretended it was normal, but everyone felt it, the weight of something watching. As Cassie danced with her friends, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Nice costume. The mask suits you." She frowned. "Cassie, who is this? Want to play a game?" She turned slowly, scanning the crowd of masked faces. The reply came fast. "Truth or lie, Cassie? Tell me what you did that night, or I'll tell everyone." The text chilled her blood. "What night?" Then she saw it. A figure at the edge of the street. A gray hood. A cracked white mask. The same mask Amber's killer had worn. 4. The Hollow Caller. Over the next 2 days, more people vanished. One of Cassie's teachers, a deputy, a classmate, each received a phone call or text before they disappeared. Each message was signed, the Hollow Caller. Cassie started piecing things together, tracing the victims back through the years. There was one link between them all. 3 years ago, on Halloween, there'd been a prank that went horribly wrong. A boy named Evan Marks had vanished after being locked in an abandoned barn as a joke. Amber, Cassie, Noah, they had all been there, and now it seemed someone wanted revenge. 5. The truth. Cassie confronted Noah. "You were there," she said. "You helped scare him." "You told me it was harmless." Noah's voice cracked. We didn't mean for him to die. Cass, it was supposed to be a joke. Before they could say more, Cassie's phone rang again, the same distorted voice. 3 masks that night, one still breathing. Guess which one I'm wearing now? Noah's face went pale. He's here. The windows shattered. The lights went out. 6. The final chase. Cassie ran for her life, ending up at the old pumpkin barn. Evan's barn. Hundreds of jack-o'-lanterns lined the walls, their orange glow flickering like beating hearts. The masked killer stepped from the shadows. A tall man, the same cracked mask, the same slow, steady breathing. Cassie raised the knife she'd found near the door. "Why are you doing this?" she screamed. The man tilted his head, voice low and shaking. Because no one cared when Evan screamed. He pulled the mask halfway off, revealing Officer Bennett, the local cop who had investigated Evan's disappearance. His eyes were wild. They laughed. They forgot. I didn't. Cassie backed toward the wall of pumpkins. "You killed innocent people." "No," he whispered. "I reminded them what guilt feels like." He lunged. She slashed. The lanterns toppled, fire catching the straw floor. Flames roared as she plunged the knife into his chest. He smiled through the blood. Trick or treat. And then he fell. Cassie stumbled into the cold night, coughing, covered in ash. Behind her, the barn burned bright orange, the pumpkins melting into molten grins. Her phone buzzed again. She looked down. "Bonita young number. Happy Halloween, Cassie. See you next year." When police arrived, the barn was gone. Just ashes and smoke. No body was found. The mask, however, was recovered, placed carefully on a hay bale. It was cracked, but smiling. That night, Cassie sat by her window, watching trick-or-treaters pass under the streetlights. A child in a white mask ran by, laughing. For a moment she thought she saw him turn and look right at her. Then the porch light flickered out, and in the glass reflection, someone stood behind her. Every scream has an echo, and Halloween always calls back. Story 2. The Hollow Harvester Halloween ghost story set on a dying farm, where the scarecrow remembers. The fields of Elders Hollow used to feed the whole county. Now they were nothing but black soil and silence. Only one man still worked them. Caleb Moore, a lonely farmer who refused to leave his family land. Every Halloween he set up his scarecrow, a tall, stitched figure with a burlap sack face and glass eyes that caught the moonlight. He called it the Watcher. It had been on that field for over 50 years. One October evening, as the sun bled orange across the corn rows, Caleb's new helper, Lydia, a teenage girl from town, finished stacking hay and looked at the scarecrow. "It looks too real," she said, "like it's watching us." Caleb chuckled. "That's the point." But that night, when Lydia left, Caleb noticed something strange. The scarecrow's head had turned, facing the farmhouse. He sighed. Probably kids. He fixed it and went inside. At midnight, a knock came at the door, slow and heavy. He opened it. No one there, just muddy footprints on the porch. He followed them. They led out to the cornfield. The scarecrow was gone. Wind howled through the dry corn. He heard whispering his name over and over. "Caleb, Caleb." He spun around and saw it. The scarecrow stood at the edge of the field, sack face ripped, eyes glowing faint orange. Caleb staggered back. "This isn't real. You left us," the scarecrow said. It wasn't wind, it was a voice. Deep, hoarse, human. Caleb fell to his knees. "No, No, that can't be. The scarecrow stepped closer, straw snapping under its boots. You sowed their graves for seed. You plowed their bones into your soil. He realized it then. The field wasn't empty. It never had been. His ancestors, his wife, his brother, the ones buried in the family plot, were still here, feeding the land. The scarecrow's mouth split open in a grin. It's harvest time. The next morning, Lydia arrived to find the field freshly tilled and a new scarecrow standing tall in the center. Its clothes were newer, its hands were real, and every Halloween after that, people swore they could hear whispers when the wind passed through Elder's Hollow. Caleb's still watching the crops. You can't grow new life from old graves unless the dead agree to feed you. Story 3. The Pumpkin Manor Halloween Party in a mansion turns into a deadly game when the decorations come alive. When 17-year-old Ava Rowan got the invite to the Pumpkin Manor Halloween Bash, she thought it was a dream. The mansion belonged to Henry Val, a reclusive billionaire obsessed with Halloween. He threw one party every decade, and every guest was chosen. The manor sat alone on a hill, covered in ivy, and glowing jack-o'-lanterns lining the entire path up to the iron gates. Each pumpkin had a different face, smiling, frowning, screaming. They looked almost alive. Inside, the guests wore elegant, vintage costumes, masks made of porcelain and silk. Ava wore a simple witch's dress. She felt out of place, like she'd stepped into another century. At midnight, the lights dimmed, and the host appeared. Henry Vale, pale, sharp, dressed in black velvet, raised his glass. "Every Halloween," he said, "we honor those who came before, those who carved the way." The crowd cheered. Ava smiled politely until she noticed something odd. Every guest's mask was carved like a pumpkin, and their eyes glowed faintly through the slits. Then the music stopped. "It's time," said Henry. The doors slammed shut, candles flickered. The jack-o'-lanterns on the walls began to move, their carved mouths stretching wider, teeth sharpening like razors. Eva screamed as one of them dropped from a chandelier, landing beside her, its grin widening into fire. "We burn bright because you must feed the flame," said Henry. He took off his mask, revealing his face carved like a pumpkin, hollow and burning from the inside. Each year, the manor takes new souls to keep its lanterns lit. Ava ran through the ballroom, knocking over pumpkins that hissed and laughed. She reached a door, locked. Another, locked. She turned, surrounded. "You shouldn't have come," whispered the pumpkins in unison. She lit a candle and hurled it. The drapes caught fire. The pumpkins screamed as smoke filled the air. She smashed a window, cutting herself on the glass, and dove into the cold grass outside. Behind her, Pumpkin Manor burned, the flames rising higher, faces melting in the windows like ghosts. Police found the mansion in ruins the next morning. No bodies were recovered, but when the town rebuilt the hill, they found hundreds of pumpkin seeds buried in the soil, black, pulsing faintly, like hearts. And every Halloween since, glowing jack-o'-lanterns appear at midnight along the road to where Pumpkin Manor once stood, each one bearing the face of a guest who never left. The pumpkins need fire to glow, and fire always needs something to burn.